In the complex and high-stakes world of celebrity legal battles, very few cases have been as controversial and widely covered as the accusations against hip-hop moguls Jay-Z and Shawn "Diddy" Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy. A recent lawsuit filed in New York has added fuel to the already volatile fire, alleging that the two music icons were involved in a heinous crime more than 2 decades ago. The lawsuit, which claims that both men sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl at a post-MTV Video Music Awards party, has captivated public attention. The legal maneuvers, including an effort to keep the identity of the accuser anonymous, have set off a series of explosive court filings and public statements, each side claiming a different version of the truth. The lawsuit and allegations in late 2024, a civil lawsuit was filed that brought serious allegations against hip-hop moguls Jay-Z and Shawn "Diddy" Combs. The lawsuit accused both men of sexual assault, claiming that they were involved in the assault of a 13-year-old girl at a post-MTV Video Music Awards party in the year 2000. The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe in the legal proceedings to protect her identity, alleges that the incident occurred at a private residence where the after-party was being held, with both Jay-Z and Combs among the prominent figures in attendance. According to Jane Doe's account, she had been attending the MTV Awards ceremony and was invited to the after-party by a limousine driver who allegedly worked for Combs. After arriving at the event, she claims that she was offered a drink, which caused her to feel disoriented, lightheaded, and woozy. As the night wore on, Jane Doe says she wandered off and entered a bedroom in the house, where she was then confronted by both Jay-Z and Combs. The lawsuit asserts that the two music moguls, along with an unnamed female celebrity, sexually assaulted her during this time. The accuser claims that Jay-Z assaulted her first, followed by Combs. After the assault, Jane Doe says she managed to escape the room and fled the house, seeking refuge at a nearby gas station where she called for a ride. The lawsuit paints a distressing picture of the events and has led to intense legal and media scrutiny. Questions have been raised about the credibility of Jane Doe's allegations, the timing of the lawsuit, and the motivations behind it. Public interest in the case has been piqued, with some speculating that the claim may be part of a larger pattern of accusations against powerful figures in the entertainment industry. Legal strategy: a battle over anonymity. One of the most contentious aspects of this case has been the question of whether Jane Doe should be allowed to maintain her anonymity. Her legal team, led by prominent Texas-based attorney Tony Busby, has argued that she should not be forced to reveal her identity in order to protect her from further emotional and psychological harm. They have emphasized the sensitive nature of sexual assault cases and the potential consequences for victims who choose to come forward publicly. The desire for anonymity, they contend, is not a ploy, but a necessary measure to shield Jane Doe from the trauma of public exposure. In contrast, Jay-Z's legal team, headed by high-profile attorney Alex Spiro, has aggressively opposed the plaintiff's request for anonymity. Spiro filed a motion asking the court to either dismiss the case entirely or, at the very least, compel Jane Doe to disclose her real identity if she wished to continue with her lawsuit. Spiro's arguments centered around the idea that allowing Jane Doe to remain anonymous raised serious questions about the legitimacy of the case. He accused her of attempting to use the court system to extort a settlement without providing sufficient evidence to back up her claims. Spiro's legal team further contended that the anonymity request was part of a broader pattern of behavior meant to tarnish Jay-Z's reputation, while shielding the accuser from scrutiny. In the motion, Spiro argued that the lack of concrete evidence and the anonymous nature of the claim made it impossible for Jay-Z to defend himself adequately. Furthermore, he emphasized that the accuser's vague assertions, along with inconsistencies in her account, made the case appear to be less about justice and more about extracting a financial settlement from a celebrity, the accuser's credibility, and inconsistencies. As part of their legal strategy, Jay-Z's team highlighted several discrepancies in the accuser's narrative that they believed undermined her credibility. One of the primary points of contention was the woman's description of how she traveled to the after-party. Spiro noted that there were inconsistencies between Jane Doe's initial statements and subsequent admissions regarding her transportation to the event. In particular, she had initially claimed to have been chauffeured directly to the party by a limousine driver working for Combs, but later revealed that she had made errors in recalling the details of that part of her experience. Spiro's legal team seized on these apparent contradictions to cast doubt on the plaintiff's story. They argued that if Jane Doe was unable to recall key details accurately, such as the manner in which she arrived at the event, this raised questions about the reliability of her entire account. Spiro suggested that these inconsistencies were not just trivial errors, but rather a reflection of a larger issue with the credibility of the accuser's claims. In addition to these inconsistencies, Spiro's team suggested that the lawsuit lacked any compelling physical evidence to support Jane Doe's allegations. No forensic evidence had been provided that would link Jay-Z or Combs to the assault, and the accuser's version of events was based solely on her testimony. Spiro argued that this lack of corroboration made the case appear weak and ripe for dismissal. Jane Doe's legal team and defense. On the other side, Tony Busby, the attorney representing Jane Doe, vehemently defended the validity of her claims and dismissed Spiro's arguments as tactics aimed at discrediting the plaintiff. Busby characterized the efforts to expose his client's identity as an attempt to bully and intimidate her into abandoning her case. He maintained that his client's decision to pursue the lawsuit anonymously was entirely reasonable, given the traumatic nature of the allegations and the public scrutiny that would inevitably follow if her identity were revealed. Busby also addressed claims that Jane Doe was seeking to extort a settlement from Jay-Z. He argued that his client was not pursuing financial compensation, but instead was seeking justice for the assault she allegedly suffered. According to Busby, the lawsuit was filed to hold powerful figures accountable for their actions, not to extract money from wealthy celebrities. He stated that the notion of extortion was both baseless and absurd. The case had already attracted attention due to the high-profile nature of the celebrities involved, and Busby's team suggested that the public and media scrutiny would only further harm the accuser if she were forced to disclose her identity. By protecting her anonymity, they argued, Jane Doe was simply exercising her right to seek justice without exposing herself to unnecessary harm. The impact of the legal battle. As the case moves forward, the legal struggle between the two parties continues to evolve. The question of anonymity remains at the forefront as the court prepares to consider whether Jane Doe's privacy interests should outweigh Jay-Z's demand for transparency. The media frenzy surrounding the case has only intensified the public's fascination with the outcome, and many are watching closely to see how the legal system will handle such a high-profile and controversial matter. Regardless of the outcome, the case has already had a significant impact, furthering the conversation about the intersection of celebrity, power, and the judicial system. It has raised important questions about how sexual assault allegations should be handled, particularly when they involve influential public figures, and whether anonymity should be afforded to plaintiffs who come forward with such accusations. As the legal battle continues, both sides are digging in their heels, with no resolution in sight. For Jane Doe, the fight for justice is about much more than monetary compensation or public attention. It is about making her voice heard and holding those she accuses accountable for their actions. Whether she will succeed in her quest for justice remains to be seen. But the case has already sparked important discussions about how the legal system treats sexual assault victims, especially when powerful figures are involved. Jay-Z's response: denial and counterclaims. As the allegations gained traction in the media, Jay-Z himself issued a statement vehemently denying the claims. He referred to the accusations as idiotic and heinous, dismissing them as part of a larger attempt to extort him. In a public response, he expressed outrage over the lawsuit, claiming that it was based on fabricated events and that he was the target of a concerted blackmail scheme. Jay-Z's legal team also filed a separate lawsuit against Busby, accusing him of defamation and extortion. In this lawsuit, Jay-Z claimed that Busby had attempted to coerce him into a settlement by threatening to publicly reveal the rape allegations unless Jay-Z agreed to pay up. According to the rapper, a letter sent by Busby's office made it clear that the attorney was seeking financial compensation, and if it wasn't forthcoming, Busby would bring the allegations to the public eye in an attempt to destroy Jay-Z's reputation. Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, reiterated that the lawsuit was a sham and accused Busby of using the case as a platform to gain publicity and advance his career at the expense of Jay-Z's good name. In a particularly scathing remark, Spiro argued that the notion of Jay-Z being involved in such a crime was absurd, calling it an example of the growing culture of fake news and exploitation that the entertainment industry had come to face. In a deeply personal statement, Jay-Z added that the emotional toll of the lawsuit extended beyond his legal troubles, as it also affected his family. He expressed concern for his wife, Beyoncé, and their 3 children, who would likely have to address the allegations publicly. Combs's legal battle: sex trafficking and multiple allegations. While Jay-Z faced this particular lawsuit, his longtime associate, Shawn Combs, was embroiled in an even more complex legal battle. Combs was facing federal charges in connection with a sex trafficking conspiracy. Authorities accused him of orchestrating a scheme that involved trafficking women for sex, often using drugs and alcohol to coerce them into participating in sexual activities with male sex workers. The charges also included racketeering and transportation for prostitution. In the midst of these federal charges, Combs was also facing a series of lawsuits from multiple accusers who alleged sexual abuse and exploitation. These lawsuits were filed by Tony Busby, the same attorney representing Jane Doe in the case against Jay-Z. Busby claimed to represent more than 120 individuals, both men and women, who had come forward with allegations against Combs. The claims ranged from sexual assault to abuse during parties organized by Combs, often involving the use of drugs to facilitate the alleged misconduct. Combs, who has pleaded not guilty to the charges, maintained his innocence and issued public statements denying any wrongdoing. His legal team has been firm in its stance that Combs has been the victim of baseless allegations designed to tarnish his reputation and extract settlements. The ongoing legal proceedings and investigations into Combs have further complicated the public's perception of his involvement in the music industry and his personal life. The media's role, public scrutiny, and reputation. As the legal battle between Jane Doe and the 2 music moguls, Jay-Z and Shawn "Diddy" Combs, unfolded, the role of the media became undeniably influential. The nature of the case, which involves allegations of sexual assault by 2 of the most high-profile figures in the entertainment industry, generated an immense amount of public attention. The media, in many ways, became a participant in the trial, shaping public perceptions of the case and the individuals involved. The attention of news outlets, social media platforms, and celebrity gossip sites led to a continuous stream of updates, which, while keeping the public informed, also introduced complexities that both Jay-Z and Combs had to navigate carefully. For celebrities, the public trial by media is a double-edged sword. On one hand, media coverage can help bring critical issues to light and give victims of abuse a platform to share their stories. On the other hand, the scrutiny that comes with such widespread coverage can be overwhelming and damaging, particularly when the accusations are as serious as those being leveled in this case. The power of media in shaping public opinion. The media's involvement in the case created a platform for public discussion, where everyone from legal analysts to social media users contributed their opinions. News outlets around the world covered the case, with articles in major newspapers, online publications, and entertainment portals all drawing attention to the allegations. Each new development, from the filing of the lawsuit to the legal motions, was dissected in real time by journalists and commentators. For Jay-Z and Combs, this constant media attention intensified the stakes, making it difficult to control their public image or shield themselves from scrutiny. Social media, in particular, played a crucial role in shaping the narrative. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook became arenas for public debate, where fans, critics, and celebrities alike expressed their views on the case. Hashtags associated with the lawsuit trended across the globe, and both Jay-Z and Combs found their reputations under attack or being defended by different factions of the public. The rapid spread of information on these platforms contributed to the case's sensationalization, and much of the conversation shifted away from the legal proceedings to focus on personal attacks, speculation, and unverified claims. For Jay-Z and Combs, this flood of media coverage was not only an unavoidable consequence of their fame, but also a major threat to their carefully curated public personas. They were no longer just two musicians facing legal challenges. They were embroiled in a media spectacle that invited both support and condemnation from millions of people. The damage to Jay-Z's reputation. For Jay-Z, the legal battle over the rape accusations was particularly complicated due to his multifaceted career as both a musician and a businessman. Having achieved enormous success in the music industry, Jay-Z also built an empire outside of his musical pursuits, with his company, Roc Nation, being a key player in entertainment, sports, and media. Beyond the boardrooms and business deals, he is widely recognized for his philanthropic work, including initiatives focused on criminal justice reform and education. This reputation as a successful entrepreneur and social justice advocate made his image even more vulnerable to the damage caused by these accusations. A significant part of Jay-Z's public image is tied to the idea of resilience, ambition, and a path to success that comes from humble beginnings. He is often celebrated as a self-made mogul who defied the odds to achieve success, and this narrative is central to his brand identity. However, facing such serious allegations threatens to undermine this image, especially when those allegations involve allegations of harming a vulnerable child. The consequences of such damage could extend far beyond public humiliation. Financially, Jay-Z's empire could suffer if his reputation were tarnished beyond repair. His numerous business ventures, partnerships, and endorsements depend on his reputation as a reliable, influential, and upstanding figure in the world of entertainment and business. Brands and companies that collaborate with him could distance themselves, not wanting to be associated with scandal or controversy. The risk of losing business deals, sponsorships, and investments could be significant. And in an age where public opinion shifts rapidly, Jay-Z's position in the market could be at risk. Moreover, Jay-Z's legal defense strategy has to account for the reputational damage that may already have been done. In a high-profile case like this, public opinion often influences legal outcomes, and a well-executed media strategy could be the difference between emerging unscathed and losing everything. Jay-Z's team had to not only address the legal accusations, but also manage the media narrative. hoping to shift the focus back to his contributions to music, business, and social causes. Combs, a legacy at risk. Shawn Diddy. Combs, like Jay-Z, faced serious risks to his legacy and public image. Combs, who has become one of the most influential figures in the history of hip-hop, built his fortune on ventures in music, fashion, and spirits, most notably with his involvement in Ciroc vodka. His empire, built over decades, is a reflection of his charisma and business acumen. However, the accusations in the lawsuit threatened to dismantle everything Combs had worked for. If the allegations against him were proven to be true, the fallout would be catastrophic. A scandal of this magnitude could force Combs to confront the collapse of his carefully crafted image. In an industry where image is everything, accusations of sexual misconduct, especially against a minor, could lead to irreparable harm. Beyond the potential loss of future business opportunities, his existing ventures could face significant backlash from consumers and investors. Combs's legal team has vigorously denied the allegations, with his defense largely focused on dismissing the claims as false and defamatory. His attorneys have insisted that he has been the victim of a smear campaign, and that the lawsuits against him, including the one filed by Jane Doe, are part of an ongoing effort to extort money and destroy his reputation. Like Jay-Z, Combs's team also faces the challenge of managing media narratives while defending against serious charges. One of the critical issues in Combs's case is the broader wave of lawsuits and criminal investigations that have emerged in recent months. These have painted a picture of a man whose business empire may be built on a foundation of exploitation and abuse. The impact of these accusations cannot be understated, as they have the potential to alter the course of Combs's career and his standing in the entertainment industry. The future of the legal battle. What lies ahead? As the case continues to develop, it remains uncertain what the future holds for both Jay-Z and Combs. The legal proceedings are far from over, and the potential for new evidence, additional lawsuits, and even criminal charges looms large. Both men face significant hurdles as they attempt to clear their names and restore their reputations. For Jay-Z, the stakes are incredibly high, not just in terms of legal liability, but also with regard to his public standing and his business interests. With his name now linked to such serious allegations, his ability to maintain control over his personal and professional image is under intense pressure. His legal team must balance the need to defend him in court, while also considering the broader implications for his brand and reputation. Combs, meanwhile, continues to face both civil and criminal charges that threaten to bring down his empire. As the case progresses, his legal team will likely continue to fight back aggressively, but they also face the reality that the long-term consequences for Combs's career and public image could be catastrophic. Ultimately, the legal battle between Jane Doe and the two moguls is not just about the pursuit of justice for the accuser. It is also about the survival of Jay-Z and Combs in the court of public opinion. As both men continue to fight for their reputations, the media will continue to play a significant role in shaping the outcome. Whether they emerge victorious in court or face lasting consequences from the media storm surrounding them, the future of their legacies remains uncertain. The case is far from over, and only time will tell how the legal and media landscape will unfold for these two powerful figures in the entertainment industry. What is clear, however, is that the stakes are higher than ever before, and the road ahead will be a difficult one for both Jay-Z and Combs.